All right, let's talk about some of those, well, weird habits that a lot of us have. You know, the ones we try to hide or feel a little bit self-conscious about. But what if I told you that those little quirks are actually signs that your brain is, well, brilliant? So let me ask you something and be honest. Do you ever talk to yourself, like when you're really trying to figure something out and you just start muttering your thoughts out loud?
And, okay, how about this one? What does your desk look like right now? Is it this perfectly organized, minimalist space? Or is it more of a creative explosion? You know, papers everywhere, coffee mugs, a few open books, total chaos.
If you're nodding your head to either of those, you're not alone. But here's the thing that's going to change how you see it. People might call you crazy for this stuff, but actual psychology says these habits are signs of a superior mind. Yeah, you heard that right. Let's get into why.
We're going to completely reframe this. Forget thinking of these things as weird quirks. We're going to start looking at them as signs of a mind that's just incredibly efficient.
And this is really the whole game right here. On one hand, you have the common view, right? That these things are flaws. You're weird, you're crazy, you're disorganized. But then you have the psychological view, which sees something totally different. It sees function, it sees efficiency, it sees a touch of genius at work.
And it all boils down to this really cool idea called cognitive efficiency. All this means is that your brain is trying to get the most done with the least amount of effort. It's basically lazy in the smartest way possible. It's always looking for these shortcuts, and sometimes, from the outside, those shortcuts look a little strange.
Okay, so that's the big idea in theory. But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's take those two habits we just talked about and break them down.
First up, let's tackle the big one, talking to yourself. The official term for it, by the way, is verbal processing.
You know the feeling, right? The stigma is real. You're trying to find something at the grocery store, muttering to yourself, okay, where are the olives? No, not there. And you catch someone giving you that look. It's almost universally seen as just odd.
But here's the reality check. It is not a bug. It is a feature of your brain. Psychologists see this as a seriously high-level tool. By saying your thoughts out loud, you're actually giving them shape and structure, making them easier for your brain to handle. So why is this so effective? Well, when you talk yourself through a problem, you're literally organizing your thoughts as they happen. You're cementing ideas into your memory, you're laser focusing on the task at hand, and you're massively boosting your problem-solving skills. Honestly, some of the most brilliant people in history were famous for muttering to themselves. It's how they work through their most complex ideas.
Okay, on to our second case study. And this one might hit home for a lot of you out there. Let's talk about creative chaos.
Oh, the messy desk. Society tells us a clean desk equals a clean mind. So when people see a desk buried in papers and books, the automatic judgment is pretty clear. Disorganized, lazy, can't get their life together.
But what if that's completely backwards? The reality, from a psychological point of view, is that a messy desk often just means that your brain has better things to do. It's prioritizing big, creative ideas over the boring, low-level task of tidying up. Your mental energy is a finite resource, and your brain is choosing to spend it on what really matters.
And believe it or not, there are huge benefits to this. I mean, just think about people like Albert Einstein or Mark Twain. Their desks were legendary for being disaster zones. Why? Because a chaotic space can actually spark new ideas. You might see a random note next to an old book, and boom, a new connection is made. It shows your brain is focused on the big picture, and it creates an environment where you feel free to make a mess, because that's often where the magic happens.
So we've looked at talking to yourself, we've looked at the messy desk. What's the big overarching idea here? What's the main takeaway? It's really this simple. The habit itself isn't the point. Who cares if you talk to yourself or have a messy desk? What truly matters is the powerful, intelligent, and super efficient mind that's driving that habit. These aren't flaws you need to fix. They can actually be signs that your brain is operating on a whole other level.
And that brings me to my final question for you. We've just flipped the script on two really common habits, so it makes you wonder, right? What other things that you think of as your flaws, what other quirks that you've been told you should change, might actually be your greatest strengths in disguise? Definitely something to think about.